In the tack house, Victoria tries to talk to Katie. She knows the new sister and house are unfamiliar. Katie just misses her room and will get over it. Victoria wants to talk about Claire and points out she wasn't that nice to her. Katie will apologize if that's what everyone wants. She snipes that she'll try harder. Victoria says Claire is her sister. She probably feels as awkward and out of place as they do. Katie says the kids at school say she's crazy and dangerous. Is she? Victoria asks Katie if she remembers what Claire told her about her Aunt Jordan. She spent her whole life being controlled by that terrible woman, but she is not crazy or dangerous. Katie points out she was in a mental hospital and worries she's faking her recovery. Victoria asks where she's getting this and pleads with her to give her sister a chance. Katie snaps that she can't make her like Claire. She's not her sister, so stop pushing her on me. Billy arrives at Society to meet Lily. He assumes it's a good sign that she asked to meet outside of the office. Do you have good news for me? Lily says, as a matter of fact, I do. She tells him she and Daniel came to an agreement to avoid the lawsuit. Billy is impressed. Lily is happy to move on. Billy tells her she's a class act. Lily asks how Jill's doing. Billy says she'll never admit how hard this has been, but he can see the toll the treatment is taking on her. Lily's sure it's frustrating for her. Billy says Snapper insists the treatment is working. If anyone is going to beat this, it's his mom. Lily wishes she could call her, but Billy doesn't want her to know he's been yapping. Billy switches gears, back to business. Lily's thought a lot about his proposal to run Chancellor Winters together. He asks, are you ready to pull the trigger? Lily tells Billy his drive for the company is contagious. It makes her feel like she should be thinking bigger. She questions if it's really a tribute to Catherine and her dad to keep the company running in place. Billy hopes he's made her see that they're the only ones who can fix it. Lily says he did. Taking the company to new heights with him sounds appealing. Billy wants to celebrate with champagne, but Lily informs him there's a catch. She doesn't want Devin or Nate to feel hurt or sidelined, and in Billy's scenario, that's inevitable. Billy points out they can't all be bosses. Lily won't have Devin feeling marginalized. That's more important to her than any business deal. Billy understands, but points out he and Devin will never see eye to eye. Lily agrees, so the only way she can move forward is if they divide Chancellor Winters. Billy asks, you want to undo the merger. Lily says Devin can take the Winters side and can run it with Nate. Billy didn't see this coming. She didn't want to break up the company at any cost. Lily held onto that for way too long. If he agrees, Devin will take back Winters and they will run Abbott Chancellor. Devin runs into Victor in the park. The mustache says he just came from his grandson's soccer game. Devin can't wait until Dom gets into sports. Victor asks him to sit down and talk. He asks if he's spoken to Tucker and reveals he suffered an enormous business setback in Paris and may have gone into hiding. Devin didn't know anything about this. He assures Victor his father won't weasel his way back into this company. I'd already have one weasel to deal with. In the club, Nate learns from Audra that Tucker faked a heart attack. She says it was pathetic and desperate. Nate muses, so you won. I'm impressed. Audra admits she had doubts along the way, but she always kept her eye on the prize. In the end, she got it. Nate asks what's next. Audra will make Glissade a huge success. Nate reminds her that Tucker McCall does not like to lose. Revenge is his specialty, and he knows how to play dirty. Audra says she's not afraid of Tucker. Nate can see that, but that doesn't mean he can't cause trouble. Audra wouldn't be surprised if he stays in Paris permanently. Nate doubts he'll wallow too long. Audra argues that losing Glissade to her was a major defeat and crippled him in the business world. Maybe now he'll realize why everyone walks out of his life for good. She makes it clear she's completely over McCall. She learned to trust no one with her heart, ever. Nate says it's a shame to let someone like Tucker to close the door on the possibility of love in her life. He raises his glass to changing her mind. Audra clinks her glass on his but warns she wouldn't count on that anytime soon. She has an empire to build and doesn't need any more distractions in her life. Audra gets a text from Victor, who wants to meet. Nate asks who it was and guesses it was from someone pretty high up in the chain. Could it be the mystery investor she's told him so little about? Audra has to run, but Nate keeps pushing about the big fish. Audra says it's not a competition for Chancellor Winters, so it's nothing for him to worry about. Nate sees a red flag in this investor paying so much for a startup that's not even making money yet. Tucker may not be the only person she needs to look out for. She'll have to answer to her investor, who may have their own ideas. In Crimson Lights, Claire discusses Katie's reaction to her with Kyle. I sort of expected it. She had a fantasy of them all being together, being a big sister and teaching her things, also learning things. Kyle's sure they'll do all those things. She's won over the Newmans, and even Summer is coming around. He tells her she's funny, smart, and genuine, and you know a lot about caterpillars. They laugh and he tells her she's hard not to like. Talk turns to Kyle's life, and he says he's pretty boring these days. Kyle muses that maybe it's too quiet and normal. Claire asks about his work. She noticed tension between him and his mother. Kyle doesn't want to bore her with it. Claire prompts him, so he tells her about Diane coming back into his life after many years of believing she was dead. It was difficult to mend fences, but eventually they worked it out and his parents remarried. Then his dad appointed her as co-CEO of Jebud, which is his old job. He reports to her, which is brutal. I'm just better at this than she is, Claire. He knows it sounds arrogant, but it's true. His father tells him to smooth it over. They both can't see this as holding him back. He earned that job, and his dad snatched it away and gave it to his mom like some kind of wedding present. Claire asks if he's thought about going somewhere else. Kyle says Jabot is his family's legacy. Claire says it doesn't have to be permanent. Kyle thinks maybe she's right, and it's time to take a look at what else is out there. At the ranch, Audra arrives to meet with Victor, who tells her he's glad the glitch in their plans have been resolved. Audra's looking forward to taking the reins of Glissade. Victor wishes he'd seen the look on Tucker's face. Audra says he looked destroyed and the blood left his face. He never thought it could happen to him, or that she would be the one to do it. Victor expects great things. Audra will deliver. She is curious, though, about him wanting to remain anonymous. Does he not want to declare his victor over Tucker? It makes me wonder if this isn't just a business deal. Is there something else he's after? Victor says his motivations are of no concern to her. He wants her to turn Glissade into a powerhouse, and he wants to add someone to her leadership team, namely Kyle Abbott. Audra gawps. Victor knows they have history, but hopes it won't be a problem. Audra assures him it won't be. She can find a division for him to manage. Victor doesn't want that. I want him to become your co-CEO. At Crimson Lights, Claire takes a call from her mother, who apologizes for how tense things got with Katie. Claire doesn't blame her. Victoria doesn't want Claire to feel she has to avoid the house. Katie just needs time to get to know her. Claire says she's on her way and disconnects. She tells Kyle she enjoyed their conversation. He did too. They say goodbye with smiles. Kyle looks thoughtful. Suddenly, he gets a text from Victor asking to meet. At Society, Billy orders champagne and then asks Lily if Divin is going to give her pushback. If he assumes she's going to join him at Winters, he may not be thrilled to hear she's staying with him. Lily's more concerned about Jill's reaction to unmerging. Billy isn't worried. She gave me the power, so this is my call. The champagne arrives, and they toast to spectacular new beginnings. Right as Divin walks in and sees them. Divin walks back out, unseen. Lily asks Billy when they'll break the news. Billy thinks they should hold off until everything is in place. He'll talk to Jill, and she can talk to Devin. He realizes that won't be easy for her. Lily hopes it will be easier than he expects. At the tack house, Johnny asks Victoria not to be mad at Katie. Her reaction to Claire might actually be about a boy at school who went out with another girl. Victoria wishes they'd talk to her about this stuff. Johnny says Katie pretends to be tough. Victoria was the same at that age. Johnny quips, "Did they have television then or just radio?" They banter and are laughing when Claire arrives. She asks, "Where's Katie?" Johnny says she's upstairs and advises her not to take anything personal with her. She can be a pain, but it never lasts long. At the ranch, Audra wants to run Glissade by herself. Victor assures her that his wishes aren't a reflection of what he thinks of her ability or skills. He clarifies, this is not merely a suggestion, it's a non-negotiable directive. Her work at the company is contingent upon her agreeing to work with Kyle. Just then, Kyle arrives. Victor tells him there's been a development, in fact, some good news. Don't you agree, Audra? At Society, Billy video calls Jill and asks how her treatment is going. She sighs, "It's going." Jill wants to know the news from Chancellor Winters. Billy says it's good news, and he thinks she'll be really happy about it. Jill senses he's trying to sell her on something. What is it? Billy says they've decided to undo the merger. Jill protests, no, that's not how she wanted it. Billy asks if she'd change her mind if she knew Lily had agreed to come and work for their side. Jill sighs, that will never happen. Billy says it just did. It's all coming together, Mom. Chancellor will become Abbott Chancellor, and her legacy will be secure. At Chancellor Winters, Devin tells Nate he saw Lily with Billy. Nate figures she's probably moving forward with their plan. Devin says he got a